ScentBlocker Most Wanted is brought to you by Mossy Oak. It's not a passion, it's an obsession. ScentBlocker. Nothing gets you closer. Ford and your quality Ford dealers. Browning. The best there is. Cuddyback. Designed in the USA with quarter-second trigger speed. And Tree Spider. The new world of tree stand safety.
Usually when January rolls around, Bob and Larry have hung up their bows and their guns, and they're getting ready for that cold weather jerkbait bite down at Lake of the Ozarks. But this year they got a surprise call from some friends down south with an invitation to hunt for some Texas bucks. As soon as they got to Sonora, Bob dialed in his Browning X-Bolt. And while Bob's in Texas, we'll see how Larry was doing this past year, hunting in our own backyard for his most wanted.
Now when it comes to bow hunting in Illinois, we spend a lot of time at Hopewell Views in Pike County, Illinois. They've got some of the most diverse habitat in all of west central Illinois. Hundreds and hundreds of acres of CRP grass, some of the densest hardwood timber you've seen anywhere. On our army of cameras back in the fall of 2011, we had 5, 6, 7 deer on a particular property that if they come within bow range of me, I would be more than happy to take. As you've seen on a show in the past, we had a couple that we had our sights set on that it didn't quite work out for the hunters. Those deer killed each other. Back last fall, before we ever knew of the demise of those 2 bucks, I was still after them. I come back from Oregon, and my first night in the stand, I was sitting on a food plot where Josh had seen that turkey foot buck exit just the day before. Well, this particular evening we had a lot of wind. It was the first cold snap rolling in for this fall. And it was right to be on the north side of this field. Seen a lot of does and fawns out there working the Whitetail Institute food plot over. Finally I caught movement to my right and I seen horns through the brush. Now this was the road where that deer had exited. And as soon as I looked and seen these points, I thought it was him. Well, the more I got to looking, it was a different 10 point that we've been watching this area for several years. And he hasn't grown a lick. He's over 4 years old, don't know for sure how old he is. He's one of those that's a mature buck, but it's never going to be a super buck. And ordinarily, every time I see a deer like this, I'm shooting him. But with the images of those other good ones that are in that area at this time, especially the rut just getting ready to start, I let him walk.
There's lots more to see from the Most Wanted crew at facebook.com/ScentBlocker Most Wanted.
ScentBlocker Most Wanted is brought to you by Matthews Solo Cam, catch us if you can, and Rage, leading the evolution in lethal technology.
Out of all the different bucks that I know that are still existing on this farm, there's this one deer stands out in my mind, and we call him Crab Claw, because out on the end of his main beams he's got crab claws, and we've had pictures of him for the last couple of years also. He's never been seen in the daylight. He's a 4 or 5 year old deer this year, and through September and October, seen him a lot, nighttime pictures, never seen him during the day. Although I would shoot several different mature bucks if they come by me, this crab claw is in the back of my mind, and I'm hunting areas where we see him the most frequently, but they're always at night. So in this particular morning, I'm hunting a stand that this crab claw deer frequents, hoping that he finally starts moving in the daytime. Well, as daybreak comes on this morning, it's obvious that the rut is ramping up. We're seeing young bucks running everywhere, does running up, their tongues hanging out. And when you see that, you know you're falling into that small period of the year where the bucks are all up on their feet and moving. Those are magical days, and I was hoping this was going to be one of them. I've got a decoy out in the food plot to my right. A long strip runs both directions, east and west. The wind is perfect for me. I look to my left and I see this heavy 9-pointer come walking out of the woods looking at my decoy. When he comes out and burrs up, he sees my decoy, he works over there, works a scrape, licking branch. Well, he turns around. I reach around the tree, arrange him, he's 30 yards, and you know, this is a mature deer that I'll take. I come back, I put it right in the middle of him. I made a couple mistakes right there. I've made them before, I'll probably do it again, and I always try and tell myself, shoot for the heart. As fast as our bows are today, if a deer is alert, they can jump your string. Every time I anticipate I'm going to take a shot, I try and go through a checklist in my mind of things I've made mistakes before and I know better. That was one of those, what you call a mental lapse. You know, he ducked a string. So take from my mistakes, if the deer has his head up, he's alert, aim at the heart. That way if he drops like that, you still get a double lung. You aim at the middle of him, you get hair off top to back.
Down in Texas, Bob was having problems of his own. For 3 days, he was on the trail of a big scrubland buck that always seemed to be on the other side of the ranch. Conflicting schedules made Bob head back home without his most wanted. But Bob couldn't seem to get that buck off his mind.
I have never been in pursuit of a deer so hard. Now, this is a deer that I had the opportunity to shoot on Thursday of last week. When we see him, he was following a yearling doe, and we got maybe 25-30 seconds of footage, probably a 250-yard shot. You know, it was just a dead on. Could have got the shot. I was locked in, but as the doe run off, so did he, and you know, my heart just sunk. You know, it was something that almost made you sick, because I knew I had made some commitments. I had to be in another state, and I had to leave. But as I thought about it on the way back home, I said, I've got to go back. This is our #1 most wanted deer on our hit list right now.
If we had any other wind, I'd be up there, but you know, he's a big enough deer and he's old enough that he smells you once or twice. He can change his patterns. We don't need that. He's pretty well figured out. You got him.
And it's not just the bucks you have to worry about. In areas like this, scent control is even more important due to the sheer number of noses out there. If one doe gets a whiff of you, she'll clear the whole field. And that's why Bob sticks to his normal scent elimination routine no matter where he's hunting.
ScentBlocker Most Wanted is brought to you by the Whitetail Institute of North America. Deer nutrition is all we do. And S4 Gear, meeting the demands of nature and those who tame it.
Let me tell you what's up with the new Block Black B18. This target has an 18-inch face, which is big enough for long and short distance shooting. It also has 16-inch wide side targets that are offset to make this target last a whole lot longer.
Now, speaking of target life, this target is made with polyfusion technology. Now, these fused layers hold their position for more durability. This polyfusion technology also allows for easy arrow removal. The Block Black is capable of stopping field tips, broadheads, and expandables. The Block Black also comes in 4 sizes to suit your bow practice preference. So get the most out of your practice by using your Block Black time and time again.
When this 10-point come out of the brush, I knew it was the first time I had ever seen him in the daytime with my own eyes. Well, he eventually gets 47 yards from me out in front of me. And it's windy, didn't take the shot. And it's early, and the bucks are moving. This morning here was crazy. Me and Josh literally had our heads on a swivel. I mean, it hardly never was there a time that there weren't deer chasing over here, deer chasing over here, out in front of us. I mean, like I said, we're just constantly watching for action. I had just seen a nice deer with looked like a shooter rack behind me going away. I was rattling and grunting. He went on over the hill. When I turned my head back around, I looked out in the field, and there he was, the crab claw. Now, there was no doubt he was responding to my rattling and grunting. From the pictures of this deer, you can tell he's an aggressive buck. Anytime he's in the picture with other deer, had his ears pinned back, you look at his hide. He is skinned from head to toe from fighting. And this year was no difference. Well, I look up and there he is. He's making a scrape, rubbing a cedar tree, grunted one time, and here he come on a string. Okay. That's old Crab Claw. We've got so many pictures of that buck. He came to the horns, and he gave it up to the horns. He is shot right behind the front leg. Good. Now that right there, my friends, is how to start out your tracking job. Let's go get him. The legend of the old Crab Claw's over with. He was at the top of my most wanted list, and the file on him is now closed.
ScentBlocker Most Wanted has been brought to you by IQ, center the dot for the perfect shot. Block, history's toughest target. And Glendale, the biggest and toughest 3D targets in the universe. ScentBlocker Most Wanted has been brought to you by Winchester Rifles and Shotguns. Trust your hunt to a Winchester. Mission Archery. Ford and your quality Ford dealers. The Redemption Muzzleloader from LHR Sporting Arms, made for a lifetime, not for a season. And Gilbreth's Taxidermy, the official taxidermist of ScentBlocker Most Wanted.
Bob, Larry, and Scott get to hunt all over the world, and they couldn't do it without help from some great friends. Well, Bob's back in Texas, hunting that one elusive 8-pointer that he knows is close by. Every evening, he and Corey check the trail cams, and sure enough, there's the 8. Trouble is, when Bob and Corey are at blind 13, the 8's at 15. And when the guys hunt 15, guess where the 8 shows up? Yep, 13. Maybe the rain will change this pattern.
And you know, trying to kill big mature bucks is difficult. But take that same scenario and try to kill one single big mature buck that's 6 or 7 years old. Can be pretty frustrating. And this guy, he's enjoying himself. I don't think I've ever been as frustrated. I can almost spit trying to figure out how to kill this deer. You know, we made a choice last night. You know, this guy's home range, we've got 2 blinds that we have options. And, you know, it seems to be that he's living at 13 until we go to blind 13, and he seems to want to be at 15. Corey, right here. Walking out behind the cedars right here. That's him. There's no doubt. That's him. If he puts his head up, I'm gonna go. I ain't taking any more chances.
What? How many days? How many days?
Unfrigging believable.
Just right there.
Right there.
They came out of nowhere.
We have set and set and set. I've looked at this guy's pictures. But this is a giant 8-pointer. And we did it with daylight left.
Yeah. Right there. Not 75 yards from us.
Ooh-wee. That's what we've been looking for. That's what we've been looking for. Look at that boy. He's easy 150. You know, for West Texas, you just don't normally see much mass to them, and to get tines that are 13 inches tall, and you know, even out here, he's got some mass to him. So, I'll tell you what, I couldn't be any happier. Five? Yeah. That's what you say, probably a 5 or 6 year old deer. Look at that back tine on him. He's just absolute gorgeous, gorgeous deer. I'll tell you what, I couldn't be any happier.